Great to be here. Thank you all for joining us on a virtual press conference. Hopefully, everyone's healthy during this COVID pandemic, and I look forward to seeing all of you in person once we get through this. It's a special day for the Miami Marlins and this organization as we welcome Kim Ng as our new general manager. Kim, couldn't be happier to have you here in Miami. I want to thank everybody who was part of the process that got Kim here. We are truly a fortunate organization to have someone with Kim's 30 years of experience at 3 major league teams and the past 9 years at Major League Baseball. I can't think of anyone more qualified for the position than Kim. I'm particularly thankful we're getting to do this in Marlins Park, and we look forward to having all our fans back next year live and to continue the great responses we had during this past year and continued success and sustainable for many years to come. And Kim will be a critical part of that process. Once again, thank you. And I know you look forward to talking to Kim and to Derek to give you many facets of the entire hiring process. Thank you very much.
This morning, virtually, you know, it's an exciting and special day for us here at the Miami Marlins organization as we officially announced the hiring of Kim Ng as our general manager. You know, when I first reached out to Kim, I think through our first couple conversations, it became evident to both of us that this was a perfect fit. And we couldn't be more excited to have her experience, her leadership help lead us down our path to sustained success. So Kim, welcome to the Marlins family. I know your husband Tony is here as well. Welcome, and we look forward. I know no one came here to listen to me, so I'll pass it on to you.
Rick, really appreciate that. First off, I want to thank Bruce and Derek and the entire ownership group for this absolutely wonderful opportunity. It absolutely means the world to me. I also want to thank my past bosses, Brian Cashman, Dan Evans, Paul DePodesta, Ned Coletti, and Joe Torre. Each of them has had a hand in making me the executive that I've become. So thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge my mother, who was absolutely relentless in her pursuit of me becoming successful in whatever it is, whatever it was I was doing. I'd also like to acknowledge my father. While he's not with us, he definitely fostered my love of sports. And my family, who's just been so encouraging every step of the way to me. And last but not least, of course, I'd love to thank my husband in front of all of you, who's been my rock, and who is every bit a piece of the word partner. He truly embodies that word. So the last 72 hours have been extraordinary for me. You know, this was announced at 11 o'clock on Friday, and I can't tell you how much it meant to me to see the outpouring of just pure joy for a lot of people. All the congratulatory messages that I received were just, you know, they were awesome. There were, you know, the count is above well over 1,000 now of emails and texts that I received over the last 72 hours. But after receiving these congratulations, it really made me take a step back and realize just how many people I've had a meaningful intersection with over my career, and they come from all walks. Writers reached out, former players, current managers who we used to work together, scouts, coaches, front office executives. It was just unbelievable. And then as the day unfolded, I was able to zoom out a little bit and realize just what was going on and just how much impact this was having, over social media. And it really became about me being able to share the moment with so many. I was watching text threads between friends, family members, and again, they were posting social media posts in these threads, and I was getting to see really what the chatter was out there. And it made me realize that it really was a glimmer of hope and inspiration for so many. That if you work hard and you persevere and you're driven and you just keep going, that eventually your dream will come true. I got calls and text messages from guys that I've known over the years who were just so excited to tell their daughters and wives. And then I got voicemails from friends, from front office executives with tears, just so happy that that I had broken through, but really I think more for the sport and more about what it meant for us in society. And I think the next part of it was reflecting on what it took to get here. And as I mentioned, the perseverance and the persistence. But I think something that should really not go unnoticed is really it was fearlessness. And the gentleman to my left, Derek, embodies that word, fearlessness. I was privileged and fortunate enough to watch Derek for 4 years every day get out on that field. And that was his approach to the game. He left it all out there every single day. Fearlessness out on that field. And now with this, we see it off the field. So Derek, thank you again. One of the things that in my research of the Marlins organization, I was perusing the media guide and I was looking at the staff pages, and it struck me that there were just so many different types of people that currently work here. There's great female representation in the scouting department, as well as the analytics department, as well as the medical department. Our COO is Caroline O'Connor, who runs this organization as well. And that was really striking to me. But what was more striking was just the amount of experience, the different perspectives, the different backgrounds that all of these people come from. And it's with that diversity of experience and background that we're looking to build a championship caliber club here in Miami. That was really striking to me. And so what we need to do is we need to use all the information that we can get, all the information that we can gather, and better decisions will come with that information. The information has become more precise, but you still can't ignore all the different perspectives that are needed. And so that's what we're going to try and do here in Miami. And lastly, this ball club, we want to be a pillar of the community. I've had the chance to talk to a number of senior leaders here at the Marlins in the last couple of weeks. And what was really striking was the cohesiveness of the group. And that moving forward, it's not just about the baseball operation, but it's about the business operation and how we're going to do this hand in hand, working together to really bring the Miami Marlins to the forefront of this community. So with that, I thank you, and I am open to questions.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, everybody. We'll now open it up to questions. Please use the raise your hand function. And we'll start with Jordan McPherson. Please identify the organization you're with. Thank you.
Hi there, Kim. Jordan McPherson with the Miami Herald. Welcome. Congratulations. You mentioned the man to your left, Derek, and the relationship you have with him. You've worked with him before. You've worked with Don Mattingly before. You've worked with a few other people in the organization. How much do you think that familiarity and already having relationships will be able to help with streamlining this process and helping make that first step into the organization maybe a little bit smoother?
I think it'll make it very smooth. You mentioned my relationship with Donnie and Gary. I've known Gary for 20 years, and I've known Donnie probably for the last 8 to 10. Donnie I worked very closely with in LA, and the one thing I can tell you is that through all of my conversations over the last couple of weeks, they've all just felt incredibly comfortable. And I think that is a huge factor in this. I also know that, in having a history with these guys, there's not as much of a learning curve for me. So I think it's going to be a seamless transition, and I just can't wait to get working.
Joe Frisaro.
Yes, Kim, congratulations and welcome. You noted the outpouring and the overwhelming amount of support you've received since Friday's announcement. Obviously on that list, just to name a few, Sharon Robinson, Michelle Obama, Warren Moon, those, I'm sure many more on social media have expressed, about this hiring. Does it really let it sink in that this is much more than just baseball that you're dealing with right now as you step into this role?
It absolutely does. I can tell you again through those text threads, people were throwing up different posts, and the idea that it has affected this many people is just extraordinary. I thought it would be a big deal, but this is beyond my expectations, and I think beyond many people's expectations. But I think that really is just a testament to where we are. People are looking for hope. People are looking for inspiration, and I'm happy that this is a part of it.
Jessica Blaylock.
Hi, Kim. Jessica Blaylock here from Fox Sports Florida. Congratulations on making history, doing something no woman has ever done before. There are going to be so many girls who look at you and think to themselves, I can do anything. And I'm curious, who inspired you? Who made you feel like in life you were capable of anything and like something like this was possible?
Two people. As a child, I looked up to. Billie Jean King was one. She's a woman who fought for equality throughout her entire career and is still fighting to this day. And then the second was Martina Navratilova. And she, for me, was somebody who really changed the women's game and how it was played. And she changed the idea of what it looked like to be a female athlete. So those two were hugely influential in my life.
Steve Wine.
Kim, congratulations on the path that you have carved over the last 30 years. I'm with the Associated Press, by the way.
Thank you, Steve.
I want to ask you to describe the resistance and the pushback that you've experienced in baseball as a woman, which makes this achievement all the more remarkable. And how has it changed over the past 30 years that you've been in the sport?
Steve, I'll say this. In terms of resistance and pushback, I think I've been able to win people over fairly quickly. I think obviously the last maybe 10 years, just in terms of interviewing for the general manager's job, it hasn't come to fruition until now. But prior to that, I can tell you that there was really not much pushback at all. So it's, look, it's a tribute to, the idea that you just have to keep plowing through. That's what this is. And yeah, you're defeated. It's like what we tell the players. You can go down and you can mope and sulk for a few days, but that's it. Then you got to come back. And I think that's what I've been able to do. And yes, I've been defeated and deflated numerous times, but you always still keep hoping and again plowing through.
Craig Mish.
Hi, Kim. Congratulations. This is Craig Mish with Sports Grid. Thank you for doing the interview. Appreciate it. As a follow-up to Steve's question, I would wonder, you mentioned the last 10 years of interviewing and not getting some of the positions that you interviewed for. During that time where you persevered through that, were there people that you leaned on for advice during that time? And was there ever any sort of self-evaluation to say, why am I not getting these jobs? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think you always have to come back and say, what could I have done better? What happened? And you try and learn. You try and learn from each interview. And hopefully you can come back stronger and better in the next one. In terms of leaning on people, there were a couple people that I leaned on. Of course, my husband was there every step of the way. But you need your friends, you need your family. It is difficult going through that failure publicly, but again, you just have to put your nose to the grindstone and just keep going.
Dave Hyde.
Yeah, thanks for a few minutes. Congratulations. I'm with the Sun Sentinel in Fort Lauderdale. I was just curious. Everybody's talking about the reaction to your hiring. Has there been any reactions, 2 or 3, that meant something to you? Maybe either people you knew or didn't know?
Yep. One was Billie Jean King, for obvious reasons. Michelle Obama, of course, was a big one, humongous one. One was a tweet from Josh Rowich, who I used to work with in the Dodgers organization. And his was meaningful because it just showed me how much people have been hoping for this moment for me and for the sport for such a long time. And the gratitude that he had, and just the sharing of the moment. So it was great. Friday was great.
Daniel Alvarez.
Thank you, Jason. Good morning, Kim, and welcome and congratulations as well, Daniel Alvarez from El Extra Base and IPC Networks. When you see the reaction from fathers and parents saying, now my girls are going to follow the Marlins because of you, and they see an inspiration in you, what does that mean to you, and how great you to see this, the impact that you're having on so many kids, independently if they are girls or boys, and just what you're doing right now?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely awesome. I'm not sure how many people told me they were now Marlins fans, but it had to be at least 500 of them, and their friends, because they've known about me for so long. I was going to tell Derek we might want to stock up on some more hats. But so many people have already put in orders. But in terms of these little girls, it means the world to me. And anybody who knows me knows that I have spent countless hours advocating for young girls, advocating for young women, and really trying to help them advance their careers. That is something that is just so important to me. And so now having this high profile position, where you're out in public more, and girls can see it. I mean, there's an adage, you can't be it if you can't see it. But I guess I would suggest to them now you can see it. And so I look forward to hearing all of their stories and just how inspired they are to now pursue a job in sports, a job in baseball, and to reach for the stars.
Mike Cunha.
Hey, Kim, congratulations and welcome to Miami. Mike Cunha from CBS 4 Miami.
Hey, Mike.
Kind of curious, quite clearly laid out how much of a trailblazer you are, but do you feel any pressure with this position now?
So I best describe it this way. When Derek told me I got the job, there was a 10,000-pound weight lifted off of this shoulder, and then after about half an hour later, I realized that it had just been transferred to this shoulder. So, yeah, yeah, I do feel quite a lot of responsibility. I have my entire career. I know that, you know, I am quite visible, and you know, I think that that's always been a big thing for me, is to just make my reputation as good as I can make it, and let that carry me through. And that's even more important now that I have this position. You just have to you're bearing the torch for so many, and that is a big responsibility. But I take it on.
Greg Cody.
Kim, congratulations. I'm Greg Cody with the Miami Herald.
Hi, Greg.
I wonder, after your long climb of 30 years and after all the dues you've paid, was there ever a low point where you sort of resigned yourself, hey, maybe this isn't going to happen, maybe I'm not going to get that general manager's call?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, after so many times, I think, again, you know, you feel deflated and you think maybe it's not going to happen. You know, but the one thing I want to make clear to people is that even if it didn't happen, even if it hadn't happened, I was never going to see my career as a failure. I've had a tremendous career. You know, I've worked for 3 major league organizations. I was assistant GM for 2 of the most storied professional franchises, and I was never going to see it as a failure. Other people might have, but I wasn't going to. You know, I know what I had done, I know what I had accomplished, and I know the reputation that I had built over all that time. But again, you know, sometimes you get in the dumps, and you know, I think that's just human. You know, I think that's just, I mean, how could you not? How could you not? So, you know, but again, you pick yourself up, and brush yourself off, and you get right in there again.
Tyler Kepner.
Yeah, hi Kim. Tyler Kepner with New York Times. Congratulations.
Hey, Tyler.
Yeah, I want to ask you, at what point in your career path did you think that this was going to be possible? Not that someone might give you a chance, but that you could do it. Like, when did you know I can be a GM? I've got what it takes.
I think that reality, that became a reality probably when I went to the Dodgers. So my first stint was with the Yankees. I was there for 4 years. And obviously New York is an intense place. It's an intense market. When I went to LA, and you know, I got more knowledge and more learning under my belt, is when I really felt like, okay, maybe this is a possibility. But it was during my time with LA. And you know, I was put into some, you know, situations, again, that were not in my comfort zone. I was, you know, farm director for a year. I then took on more responsibility with, you know, pro scouting, and you know, that's where I really sort of got my, I got my sea legs under me and really felt like it was a possibility.
Thank you.
Hannah Kaiser.
Hi, Kim. Hannah Kaiser from Yahoo Sports. I'm going to take it back a little bit earlier than Tyler did. I have a similar question. We've talked about sort of how much this means for baseball and society, but I'm curious how much this means to you. Do you remember when you first had the dream of being a GM? Did it predate when you realized you could do it? Did you have like a specific, that's where I hope this career in baseball leads thought?
You know, I never really had that aha moment. I think, you know, throughout my career, I have not looked at the end of the rainbow. It's always just been a step-by-step process. I never got too far out ahead of myself, and it was really just about doing the best job I could at that time and hoping to advance my career. So again, it wasn't, you know, there was not this carrot hanging out there that, you know, I had to do this, or you know, this was what I was going after until I became an assistant GM.
Maury?
Hi, Kim. This is Maury Brown with Forbes Sports. Congratulations.
Thanks,
You
Maury.
mentioned Derek Jeter as someone that you've looked to that has given you some inspiration, but Danny Evans is somebody that obviously is a big figure in your life, given you the first intern job, and then you mentioned the Dodgers. How much has Danny meant, and what kind of conversation did you have after getting the job?
Danny is a very big figure in my career. Like you mentioned, Danny gave me my first opportunity as an intern. I worked for him for 6 years with the White Sox, and he was the guy that just showed me how incredibly thorough you needed to be at that level. And it was every day, and it was night, and it was day, and it was 24/7. So he's been a very big part of my career. And then in LA, and watching him work as now the general manager was huge for me. And we actually have not spoken, but we've exchanged text messages. And he just expressed how incredibly happy he was for me, and my response was just how grateful I was for him. So it was great.
Tim Healy?
Hi, Kim. Congratulations. Tim Healy from Newsday here.
Hey, Tim.
The parts of your childhood spent in Queens and I believe Long Island, what role did that have in shaping your softball playing, softball and baseball loving life?
So me playing stickball in Queens is a very fond memory, and running bases. First base would be the red car on the right, second base was the manhole, third base was the car, green car on the left, and another manhole for home. Those were great memories. And when I was growing up in Queens, there weren't really leagues around at that time, so I wasn't really formally playing. This was street play. This was just kids enjoying the game, and that's what we had. And if there weren't enough for us to play, a full-on team game, we just played. We just had to catch in the street. So it was, those times were just so much fun for me. Moving to Long Island is when I actually got to play in a formal league, and that was probably when I was about 12 years old. And when you think about it, going on to play college softball when you really hadn't played in a league until you were 12, that's unheard of these days. But back then, you were just outside every day playing. And so those were really formative years and great memories.
Where in Long Island did you live?
Glen Cove.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Greg?
Hi, this is Craig Minervini from Fox Sports Florida. Congratulations, Kim.
Thanks, Craig.
This is amazing and inspirational, not only to women. I think anybody watching this, it's quite emotional watching it. Is it for you as well? And also, where did your fearlessness come from?
Oh boy. So this has been, this has been a tremendous 72 hours. In terms of my fearlessness, I don't know where it comes from, but I can tell you I can remember it probably from when I was in high school forward. And I was not the kid that was always going to follow with the rest of the group. That was not me. I was going to do my own thing, and I didn't care what people said. I was just going to do it. And that has followed me throughout high school, college, my professional career. It's just knowing what you want to do and doing it, and not worrying about what anybody else says. So that has carried me through. It has given me a strength that I'm not sure a lot of other people have it to go through what I have publicly, just in terms of not having gotten the job so many times, but it pays off. tell you that much.
Al Butler.
Sorry. Hi, Kim. Congratulations. It's Al Butler from UPI.
Hi, Al.
Hi. I know you mentioned some figures in the past that have inspired you and people that you've looked up to, but obviously you've never seen anyone in Major League Baseball take on the challenge that you're about to take on. I was curious, have you maintained and paid attention to other leagues? Like I see in the NFL and NBA, we've had coaches and officials and an owner, for instance, that women have achieved first achievements for those sports. I was curious, have any of those recent accomplishments, have they inspired you as of late that enables you to keep that persistence within Major League Baseball that you were going to get this job?
Absolutely. I think, any of the women that are, out on the court, out on the field, in the coaches' locker rooms, those are the women who are really, really in the trenches and who have gained so much respect from the players. So, from my position, I can be in those positions, but I don't have to do that every single day. It's the ones who are down there doing it every single day. My admiration for them is immense, and that is inspiring. From the football coaches to the basketball coaches, they've done tremendous.
Thank you,
Gabe.
Oh, hi, Kim. Gabe Lax with USA Today. You mentioned wanting to leverage the diversity within the Marlins organization that you've seen. Well, what are the upsides of diversity and having a variance of voices in the room? How have you seen that boost organizations in your past experience?
I've been in rooms where, say, for example, it's been just players, and the players have, former players, and they have a unique perspective for sure, and they can tell you a lot about guys' character and how they approach their craft every single day. But I think sometimes you get too zoomed in, and you don't necessarily see the entire picture. And I'm talking about this one specific example. And so, again, I think that's why you need different perspectives in the room. You need someone from the front office. You need someone from the scouting department, from player development, from analytics. You need all these people in the room to make good decisions. We all bring certain strengths and expertise to the table. And I think if you don't use those resources, shame on you. Shame on you. In order to make good decisions, you need all the information you can. So, that's what I hope to try and build upon here.
Tim Brown.
Hey, Kim Eng.
Hi, Tim Brown.
You talked earlier about Billie Jean King and Martina Navratilova, how they inspired you. I wondered, in your role over the last decade or so, traveling to Trailblazers series, urban academies, baseball for all stuff, looking into the eyes of 8-year-old girls and 10-year-old girls and 12-year-old girls, how did they inspire you day to day?
They inspired me day to day because they just don't see limits. They don't. They're too young. They're too naive. The world is their oyster. And I marvel at many of the girl athletes that I see today. They just let it all hang out on that field. And, I have marveled at them and wished that I could be as carefree as they are. It just doesn't matter. They're just going to go out there 150% every day. And they're just doing something that they love. That's all that they're doing. So they are an inspiration to me.
They're still playing stickball. Thanks, Kim. Good luck.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Josh.
Hey, Kim. Congratulations. This is Josh Friedman in Chicago with WGN TV. Just thinking back to your early days with the White Sox, you mentioned Dan Evans, but who else had a strong influence, and what lessons did you learn early in your baseball career that have stuck with you?
In Chicago or anywhere?
Yeah, primarily with the White Sox.
With the White Sox. Well, I can tell you Jerry Reinsdorf has had an impact on me in terms of, Jerry has been an incredibly loyal owner to his staff, and I think that has always stuck with me and amazed me. When the Dodgers and the White Sox joined forces and owned a spring training facility together in Arizona, I saw the same faces from 25 years ago. He has the same staff. They're incredibly happy. They're incredibly loyal to Jerry. And I think that has stuck with me. Other people at the White Sox, gosh, there was Kenny Williams, who I worked with. Kenny was a great influence. Kenny was one of the guys who took me out scouting early on in my career. Grace Zwitt, who is, I'm not sure exactly what her title is, but I imagine it's something like Senior Director of Player Development, Minor Leagues. She was a great help to me throughout my career, particularly when I was with the White Sox. And you don't mess with Grace. You don't mess with her, and it really showed me, if you knew what you were doing, you have a voice, you're at the table, and you tell people. So that was Grace for me.
Olivia?
Hey, Kim. Olivia Garvey, ABC7 DC. Congratulations.
Thank you, Olivia.
For many of us women that are in baseball, have loved the game of baseball for years now, have followed you, seen the amount of interviews that you've gone through. First, a girl that really truly does love the game and wants to be a GM in an organization someday, what advice do you give them that you followed throughout your career?
The one piece of advice I would have is tell people what you think. I don't think that I was ever hired to just nod and play along. You are hired to give your opinion. You're hired for your opinions, and those are things that matter. And again, it's, you can bring all the right people to the table, but if they're not talking, if those diverse perspectives are not talking, you don't really have much of anything. And so I always felt that I needed to express myself, and when I didn't agree, I did it. We all did it with respect. You can have different opinions, but those all have to come out. So that would be my biggest piece of advice, is to, you have your opinion, just voice it. Voice it. What could go wrong? Someone disagrees with you, that's it.
Alyssa?
Hi, Kim. Congratulations. Alyssa Policelli here with New York One News.
Hi,
just wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about your time in Queens playing stickball, wondering what neighborhood that was in, and then just reflect on your time with the Yankees and how your time here in New York will help you in this new role.
So I was in Fresh Meadows. I went to PS 173. It's amazing I can remember that, but went to PS 173, and my time in New York, and I told Derek during one of our conversations, I was glad to have gone to the Yankees first, having that be my first stop along the way in terms of my assistant general managerships, because I got to see what winning at a high level for an extended period of time looked like, and what that took. And between Mr. Steinbrenner, the staff there, obviously Brian, I get to see the many different facets of the operation and what it took from their perspective, and the drafts that we had, and the development, all the coaches in the player development system, and the excellence that they demanded. That all came from the top, obviously, but it permeated down throughout the organization. And from the time you entered our organization as a recent draftee to the time that you entered the big leagues, you were expected to give your all, your 100% each day. And that's what we want to bring here.
Brittany?
Hi, Kim. Congratulations. I'm Brittany Dell from NBCLX. My question is, your announcement of your new position comes days after Kamala Harris was declared the vice president-elect, who also broke barriers as just a woman, a Black woman, and a South Asian American woman to become vice president. Why do you think we're just now seeing a woman general manager in the MLB? Why do you think it's taken this so long for we to finally see this barrier broken in sports?
Brittany, I don't know, but I can tell you that, I'm here now and, just so grateful to Derek and Bruce for bringing me on board. Again, I've fought hard for this, but, I'm not sure. I just know that I'm here now.
Okay, we'll grab a few more. Kelly?
Hi, Kim. Congratulations. Kelly Sacco with Fox Sports Florida. I wanted to know, how big of an influence has your experience as a college softball player had on your career and your understanding of the athletes you work with?
It's had a tremendous effect on the way that I view things. I think, being an athlete and knowing what it takes every day and knowing how you have to prepare yourself and what things you're looking for in athletes, I think has had a tremendous influence in terms of the way I look at things. I also think it's a matter of pressure, leadership, work ethic. It's all wrapped up in there. And knowing that, in just college athletics, I mean, you're with your teammates and the coaches, gosh, so much, especially when you travel. And so you know what that experience is like, and you know what these guys are going through, not to the same level, of course, but it's all wrapped up in there, and it's all important. And, the emotions that these guys go through, the defeats that they feel. Again, not to the same level, but, you've been there and been able to feel some of the things that they feel. And I think that helps you to understand them and to pull back when you need to, and to, go forward, go harder when you need to.
Ann Killian?
Hi, Kim. Ann Killian with the San Francisco Chronicle. I'm wondering, you talked about pursuing, pushing through for all those interviews and all the time you were interviewing for this job. Did you feel like you were really a candidate? Sometimes did you feel like you weren't really a candidate, but were only there to fulfill a quota or to project the image of diversity? And I'm wondering, how did you deal with that reality that I think a lot of minorities and women face in job processes?
Yeah, there were times where I felt like the interview wasn't maybe on the up and up, but I will say that just by having my name out there was a source of hope for people. And so you do it because you know that you just have to keep your name out there. And it wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. It was about others. It was about other owners who might give interviews to minorities and women. It was about the women behind me. It was about the women starting out in baseball across sports, all sports. It was about just letting them know that this was going on. And that, again, your life is very public when this is all going on. I mean, my staffs, they didn't even know how to approach me. They wouldn't even ask about it because they were just so nervous. They just didn't know how I felt. And so, when your life is out there like that, and you're going, and you, in your head, think you're going to come up empty, it's hard to go through that. But again, it's a lot of this was about others. I mean, it was for me, but a lot of it was about others as well. And, hopefully the ones that have watched me go through this and, sort of felt what I was going through as I was going through those other interviews can now, and they are, just so happy for me and happy for women and happy for the sport and what has been able to be accomplished.
Okay, we have a few more hands raised. Let's go to Daniel Roberts.
Great, thanks. Hi, Kim. This is Dan Roberts with Yahoo Finance.
Hey, Dan.
So from a business perspective, obviously the priority is winning. You talked about that. But to zoom out a little bit, what are some of your other priorities? What's on your to-do list for the organization, maybe in terms of the culture or in terms of the business? And then while we're speaking, I'd love to get your take on a macro sense for Major League Baseball. Even pre-pandemic, attendance was down. What do you think MLB needs to do moving forward?
Well, I think from a business perspective, I want to be out there more in the community. And like I mentioned in my opening remarks, I want the Marlins to be seen as a pillar of the community. So I will be out there at different functions, to make sure that people understand who we are, where we're going, and where we want to take this organization. In terms of the upcoming season, I mean, that's really just going to be, pending COVID and vaccines and where we end up on that issue. So that is yet to be determined, but I think the folks at MLB are looking at all the different avenues that we could be heading down in the next 6 months.
Okay, Alfrey, if you want to go, and we have Luis on the line to help translate if necessary.
Thank you. No, I will do it in English. Thank you. Hello, Kim. This is Alfred Alvarez from Con las Bases Llenas. First, congratulations once again. I just became a father of a little baby girl 2 weeks ago, and this question is on her behalf and on behalf of all of those little girls watching you right now who one day can dream to become part of baseball, either playing or in any other position. What is the message that you can send to them?
Anything is possible. That's my message to your little girl. Anything is possible. Just work your butt off, keep your nose to the grindstone. It's great to have people block for you every once in a while. Soak up all the information you can, but anything is possible.
Thank you very much.
Jose Rodriguez.
Thank you. Congratulations, Kim. I wanted to ask you a little bit about, you talked about the community. This is a city of immigrants. Your parents are immigrants. How do you think that is going to help you connecting with the people in Miami? And also, I was wondering if you have been getting anything from people in Thailand. What was the response from them? Thank you.
So I have not gotten anything from Thailand, but apparently I have a small little fan club in China. So that brought a smile to my face for sure. My mother, when she was 5 years old, came to this country. She had emigrated from China to Thailand during the war, and she has grown up very much a part of this country, but of course has memories from her childhood, and has always instilled in us our culture, and my grandparents as well. I remember them vividly and their experiences as immigrants. So I can tell you that, from my own personal experiences as well as working international for the last 9 years, coming to this country is obviously a tremendous undertaking. There are so many things that you have to learn, so many assimilations that you need to make when you enter this country. That the one thing I would say is that I have a great understanding of that because of my mother, my parents, and my grandparents, and many of their siblings. So this is a great country, and we will try and do what we can to make your lives easier. And when I've talked to a couple of the folks here about our assimilation programs for our athletes, tremendous, in terms of the education that we try and help them with, in terms of, just basic fundamentals of getting by in life, how to open a checking account, how to order in a restaurant. Those are things that we really try and make sure, we provide to the kids when they come over and beforehand. So I am definitely sympathetic to a lot of that.
Andy?
Hi, Kim. Andy Slater from Fox Sports 640 South Florida. Congratulations and welcome to South Florida. During your interview and when you were hired, what was discussed as far as the baseball decision-making process, personnel moves moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, in terms of the baseball decisions, that's going to be a collaborative process, as I've discussed today. It's going to require different people from different facets of the organization, of the baseball operations, at the table talking about different players, our players, other organizations' players, and really getting a feel for the different attributes.
Process, personnel moves moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry. So that's really going to be the decision-making process, and then ultimately, look, I mean, it's you'll cull through all that information, and eventually come to the decision. But it's going to be
Real
very
quickly.
incorporated.
Sorry. Your time with the league office, do you feel like that's going to bring something to the Marlins organization and help you out and the rest of the organization?
I do. I think in the central office, you are privy to the way different organizations operate, and I think that's great information. I think, in terms of the people that I know at MLB, you can always reach out to them, and you know who to go to. So I think all of that is going to be very helpful for us.
Okay, and we're going to wrap up with Maury and then Scott. Go ahead, Maury.
Yeah, Kim. You've obviously worked with two organizations that were higher on the revenue side and had a little more resources involved. It's, obviously there's some challenges that have been historical with the Marlins organization, and that's going to probably wind up as part of a fiscal restraint around things like payroll and everything else. What on, day one, or your early plan that you have initially, how are you looking at things, and what can you take from what you had maybe with the Yankees and the Dodgers and then apply it in a little bit of a different economic model?
Right. I think the most important thing in this whole thing is to know the prospects that you have, to know your minor league system. Throughout my career, at each step of the way, we had young players. We had young core premium players. So, obviously Derek was part of the core four in New York. In LA, we had guys like Matt Kemp and Russell Martin. And I think it's important to know who your players are, and to evaluate them objectively, and know which ones to keep and which ones you can trade. So I think, being from a smaller market now, the player development system is just so incredibly important, as well as your acquisition modes, whether it's domestic or international. And looking at this system, it's rated one of the top systems in baseball right now. So obviously a good job has been done here, but we're just looking to build on that more and more. And I think that's how you get to the self-sustaining model that you need over an elongated period of time. You got to go with a lot of good young players and then fill in where you can.
Okay, and we'll go to Scott last, and then just a note, when we're done with this question, we're going to have everybody stand and pose, and so we can grab a photo here for everybody.
Hi, Kim. Scott Morganroth, South Florida Tribune. Congratulations. Well deserved. First of all, let's talk a little bit more about your experience with the MLB office. And the second part of that question is, how much of an influence has Joe Torre been in your career? I know you were with him with the Yankees, again with the Dodgers, and then you ended up going to MLB. Thank you.
Sure. In terms of Joe, Joe's been a great pillar for me in my career. As you mentioned, we've been at 3 different stops together. You know, Joe has a way of distilling information so that it just becomes so simple. And that's always been the one thing that I look to, you know, unemotional, objective, and really just keeps his eye on the ball. And so, you know, when things haven't gone quite my way, you know, he's one of the guys. He's, you know, a very important guy that I will often call. And then, I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question?
Yeah, the second part of the question, Kim, was what you learned again from the MLB office. I know you talked to Andy about it a little bit,
right?
But you said you were able to get lots of different things from different organizations collectively. Is that correct? And you're able to learn a lot from them?
Sure. You learn about how clubs operate in the draft. You learn about how clubs are operating internationally, which is the area that I was focused on. So I think all of that plays into, you know, things that we will do here, the pluses and the minuses of what other clubs have done.
Thank you.
Thank you.